Hi, welcome back. In this week's module, we're going to take what we've learned about writing paragraphs and start building a complete essay. In Part 3, you'll be adding the final components to your essay: a title, an introduction, and a conclusion. So let's take a closer look at each of these parts. So what makes a good title? Well, coming up with a good title is mostly about using your own good judgment and creativity. However, there are a few basic rules you can follow to help in the process. For example, a good title is usually short and to the point. A good title should in some way reflect your thesis. And a good title should be creative. Let's take a look at a couple examples. In the Anna Lappe essay, her thesis reads, "Today, junk food marketing happens in so many places and in so many ways that it's often behind parents' backs and beyond our control." Now let's see the title she created. "Not Lovin' It, Moms and McDonald's Don't Mix." As you can see, the title is short and to the point. It reflects the thesis of her essay, and it has a nice creative element, where she makes a pun based on the McDonald's slogan, "I'm lovin' it." And how about the Sherry Turkle essay? Her essay thesis reads, "We've become accustomed to a new way of being alone together." Now let's see the title she created. "The Flight from Conversation." Again, the title is short and to the point. It reflects the thesis of her essay, and it includes a nice creative metaphor. In your worksheet for Part 3, I want you to write a title for your essay using the guidelines I've just explained. In my sample essay on baseball and racism, I've come up with the following title: "Strike 3 for Racial Equality in Baseball." The next step in Part 3 is to write an introduction paragraph for your essay. The purpose of an introduction is to 1. Introduce your topic, 2. Introduce your thesis, and 3. Intrigue your reader to continue reading. Now, introducing your topic and thesis is the easy part. The real challenge in writing a good introduction is to intrigue your readers to continue reading. So how do we do this exactly? Well, good writers have learned a few tricks over the years to engage their readers in that first paragraph and encourage them to read more. Some of these tricks include using the introduction to tell a story, adding a quote or quoted passage in the paragraph, showing your credibility as an expert on the subject, using the introduction to ask your reader a question. Let's take a look at a few examples. In the Anna Lappe essay, the author begins her essay by describing a particular event and providing some details about what happened. This is a good example of an introduction that tells a story. In the same paragraph, Lappe also includes a quoted phrase, which is another good technique for engaging your readers. In the Sherry Turkle essay, the author validates her expertise on the subject by pointing out the research she's completed over the last 15 years. This is a good example of an introduction that shows credibility. Here's an introduction to an essay I read recently by Sugata Mitra. This is a good example of an introduction paragraph that asks the reader a question. In the Part 3 worksheet, be sure to indicate which type of introduction you would like to use with your essay. Next, write your introduction paragraph in the space provided. Keep in mind that your introduction paragraph should be approximately 4 to 6 sentences long, and your thesis statement should be the last sentence of the paragraph. Now it's time to work on your essay conclusion. In general, a good conclusion creates a sense of completion. It brings readers back to where they started, but it also shows them how far they have come. It also provides a quick summary of the essay and often presents a further observation or point about the topic. Some of the techniques that writers use to accomplish this include restating your thesis, Keep in mind that this does not mean repeating the same thesis sentence from your introduction. Instead, rephrase your thesis using different words and expressions and perhaps adding a different perspective on the topic. Providing a call to action. If the purpose of your essay is to persuade or influence a reader, the conclusion paragraph is the ideal location to ask your reader to consider your point of view or take action. Let's take a look at a couple examples. In the Anna Lepay essay, her thesis in the introduction paragraph reads, "Today, junk food marketing happens in so many places and in so many ways that it's often behind the parents' backs and beyond our control." And in her essay conclusion, she writes, "You can turn off the TV and your kids will still be exposed to junk food marketing. For kids today, marketing is ubiquitous, and McDonald's has been front and center in making it so." Notice how the author is essentially repeating her thesis from the introduction paragraph. However, she has rephrased the thesis using different words and phrases and has also included an additional perspective on the topic by referring directly to McDonald's. Here's another example where an author includes a call to action in his conclusion paragraph. In the essay by Sugata Mitra, the thesis in his introduction paragraph reads, "Many of the skills learned in a traditional classroom have little value in today's workplace." And in his essay conclusion, he writes, "We don't need to improve schools. We need to reinvent them for our times, our requirements, and our future. We need people who can think divergently across outdated disciplines, connecting ideas across the entire mass of humanity. We need people who can think like children." Notice how the author is using his conclusion paragraph to persuade readers to see his point of view and possibly take action on his suggestion. After completing the Part 3 worksheet, you should have in place all the components needed to write a complete essay: a title, an introduction, a body section, and a conclusion. As I mentioned earlier, this might be a good time to combine all of the essay components you've written so far into one document, using perhaps Microsoft Word or Microsoft Works. In next week's module, we'll talk more about how to format your document, and we'll also review some methods for editing and revising your essay. So that's it for this week. Remember that the only assignment due for this module is completing the 3 essay worksheets listed below. If you have any questions about the assignment, please contact me through the Angel Course email. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time.